part 2, a little more ideological, so let's jump right into it. If you've ever asked yourself, how come there's 24 hours in a day? Now, biblical measurements, there's a relationship between time, space, and matter. And the answer for the 24-hour day is because there are 24 palms in a man's height. 6 palms in a cubit. A cubit is a quarter of your height. So 6 times 4 is 24. That's the reason why. Moving on to Noah's Ark. God told Noah to build an ark that's 50 cubits wide, 30 cubits high, 300 cubits long. Now 50 cubits wide happens to be a nautical second. There's 3,000 cubits in a nautical mile. Divide that by 60 and you get 50 cubits or 100 spans. Another significant number in this global flood story is the number 40. 40 nautical seconds is 2,000 cubits. 40 times 50 cubits, which is a nautical second, is 2,000 cubits, which is a Sabbath day's journey. On the Sabbath, we're not supposed to travel more than 2,000 cubits from our homes. Noah was in a state of quarantine when he was in the ark. Quarantine even means 40. So that is really, really cool. Now, moving on to the speed of sound. Sound travels at 555 cubits a second. It goes 1 nautical mile in 5.5 seconds. It goes 1 degree or 60 nautical miles in 5.5 minutes. And compare that to the metric system. Sound travels 343 meters a second. It goes 1 kilometer in 2.9 seconds. So I think it's easier to memorize 555 cubits a second. 5.5 seconds is 1 nautical mile. 5.5 minutes is 60 nautical miles or 1 degree. Now let's compare how long it takes sound to travel around the Earth. And it goes around the poles in 30 hours, corresponding to the 30 cubits, which is the height of Noah's Ark, which happens to be 1,800 minutes. There are 180,000 cubits in 1 degree or 60 nautical miles, corresponding to the time it takes sound to travel around the Earth. 1,800 minutes, 180,000 cubits, half the degrees of a circle. In the Egyptian system, it comes out to 240,000 cubits, which is not as useful as 180, half the degrees of a circle. So it's just another reason why biblical is better. It's better. There's a relationship to volume. There's a relationship to mass. There's a relationship to time. So time, space, and matter are all perfectly bridged in the biblical system. So good news is 70% of the biblical measures are being used by people today in the modern world. I'm 65 kilograms. That's 65 mannae. These are measures of, or rather units of mass. And so it is a little more tricky, not too difficult once you get smaller than a kilogram. For instance, 20 grams, the kilogram is divided into 1,000 units, 1,000 grams. The mannae is divided into 100 shekels. So 20 grams is 2 shekels. Okay, a shekel is 10 grams. So you just move the decimal place over. But if that's too tricky for some, you could always just double. So 20 grams, double that. 40 grams, or 20 grams would be 40 gera. A gera is 0.5 grams. So it's not too hard. Of course, the liter is the cab, and metric only has 1 unit for volume. So you could say 1,000 liters, 2,000 liters, million liters. Same thing with the cab. You could say 1,000 cabs, 2,000 cabs, a million cabs. And it's not a coincidence that the American quart, the metric liter, the biblical cab, the Ethiopian kuba are all identical. Every culture needs something about this big, a canteen or water bottle, a unit that's easy to transport but isn't too small. It's just practical for human beings living on this planet. So we are using the nautical mile. Every Air Force and Navy in the world uses it. So the app on my phone could convert between kilometers and miles to nautical miles, which is the Egyptian and biblical mile. It is more of a challenge when you're talking about units smaller than a mile, such as a cubit or a span or a palm or a finger, because we don't use them. But fortunately, the biblical system is the most efficient at dividing the nautical mile. And it is kind of sad that, you know, uh, we're not currently using such units. I like the French. I think when they promoted the metric system, they didn't want it to be too attached to the French identity, because if it was, nobody else would use it. It'd be like chopsticks. What's the point of having a measuring system that only these people over here can use? It'd be useless. The scientific community uses metric, and so does every country in the world. And that's kind of how I feel about biblical measures. I think that Noah used them. That's where we all descend from, and it is the best. And that's the point of this video, is to kind of highlight its advantages. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope you give biblical measures a thought and you are using them already. But there's just some things that kind of need to be touched on. And shalom. Bonus round. We got a bonus round, and that is cups. The ancient Hebrew cab liter, it can be divided into 4 logs, each log being 250 milliliters. Now there is a metric equivalent. It's called the metric cup, which is 250 milliliters. Some countries have different size cups. Some are 200 milliliters, some are 230, but 250 is popular because it does divide evenly into the liter, and we have the same thing with the biblical measures. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye.